Rye agreed upon was to make this a pilot proposal and review it after a specified amount of time, and I think we talked about 6 months, so that during the off season we can monitor how this has been working. And then, I'm sorry. Supervisor Carvin and I discussed that as a way to make sure that this is actually working, that we would adopt a change in policy as a pilot and review it again in 6 months before the season begins again in the summer. So I can make a more formal motion that we adopt the recommendations of the dog subcommittee, and that would be that dogs would be allowed off leash from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. That the dog policy would require registration for a reasonable fee, and the fee would be set, I guess, between the City of Rye and the Park Commission. We decide what the appropriate amount is, but I don't think we have to specify that right now. The registration would require all dog owners to sign a dog owner's code of conduct. Again, that's a code of conduct that we can recreate after this meeting, but it would, among the conditions would be that a dog owner could not, or a dog tender could not have more than 2 dogs off leash at any one time in the park. Dogs would be designated to restricted areas within the park, and dog owners, of course, would be required to clean up after their dogs and maintain all the other licensing and registrations requirements that are already in force in the laws of the City of Rye and the Town of Rye. So in addition to this, we would work to put up some clear signage to notify park users of what the off-leash hours are, and that at all other times of the day, dogs would need to be leashed. And we would work with the City of Rye Police Department to monitor both the registration and making sure that dogs were actually on leash during the hours after 9 a.m. every day.
Yep. And I think just to be a couple of things. One, we need to make clear the restricted area. And secondly, we talked about a couple other things, I think, when we spoke, which may not be in the committee minutes, but that Rye City will ask its rec commission to look at other possible venues. And I think the third thing is, and again, this will probably still be outstanding, but in terms of liability, I understand your legal counsel saying there's no legal liability, and if that indeed's the case, then we're hoping that may indemnify the town of Rye just to stand behind that recommendation. So for me, and again, maybe I just anticipate where I'm coming from, and again, I thank Commissioner Brett. This has been a difficult issue for a number of years, and I know it divides the community. I'm prepared to give this trial period 6 months, or basically till March, April, as an effort to find a solution. And I know Mayor Pagano, I apologize. I meant to call you ahead of time. I probably know where you are, which is fine.
And I know this is a tough subject.
It is but in terms of I'm really hoping that the park users who are most in favor of this change really step up to the plate and use this opportunity to give comfort to those people who quite frankly, are against this policy. And, show that they can indeed manage the risks that we've all talked about for a long time. I think the registration policy is imperative. I'm hoping the best way to control this is for the dog users. I have a concern that people who have dogs will come off registration. They're not registered and try and use it, so I think it's imperative. And finally, look, the other thing is, with this comes enforcement. I think the other thing is, Rye City obviously enforces here. It's not that you haven't been wanting to enforce, but I think now there's an additional imperative to enforce, given the fact that we're putting in place this new policy. And so, people will be alerted to the need for increased enforcement. And I think, my hope is maybe it will work. Maybe it will work, and this is the best time of the year to try it. And so that's where I come out. Just the last point I would make is my commission, the Rye-Town Commission, is fundamentally imposed. So I'm out on a limb here. I made, Mr. Nowotny knows, he was lynched at the next meeting. But I'm prepared to do it because I think, it's a potential solution. And quite frankly, in 6-7 years, we haven't found a solution. So that's what I wanted to say, and then turn it over to my fellow colleagues on the board to talk about.
I would just
Please.
comment, and Laura, thank you also, and Joe, thank you, and Benny, for really working hard on this, because it is a tough one. The mention of the review in 6 months, I don't think that's a part of the legislation.
Your legislation.
Right. But certainly, we're willing to take a look at it, but as far as the law goes, that's not part of the law.
And Joe and I talked about that. I think
Okay.
for the purposes of our City of Rye law in allowing this off-leash.
Go, just get to the mic.
Oh, sorry. For purposes of the City of Rye law in allowing dogs off-leash, we're not anticipating enacting that as a pilot, but the policy change for the park is a pilot. And, I'll be on the council in 6 months, and I promise that if there are major problems, you have my word that I'll take it up with the City of Rye and try and address those problems at the local law level as well as on the Park Commission
Same
level.
here.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I want to thank also Commissioner Brett and yourself. This is tough stuff. Believe it or not, it's something as simple as this. It became a campaign issue when I first started in the park room. And I said I didn't have a problem with the dog park as long as they opened it up to horses also, but that didn't fly very well. Having said that, unfortunately, I'm still fundamentally opposed to dogs running loose in a public area. If this were in some way modified to strictly define and contain the dogs in a fenced-in area so that there's never any misunderstanding of who belongs where, people and dogs, I'm sure my vote would change from a no to a yes, or at least certainly take a look at it. One of my concerns is the people that who are not dog owners, who are afraid of animals, and I know a lot of them, all of a sudden can become frightened at the appearance of a dog. And I've seen it happen. And a dog that's on a leash, and open to run wherever that animal would want to run. Consequently, unless we're in a contained area more defined, I just fundamentally feel that I have to continue on the way I am. But nevertheless, thank you for your hard work. It's not easy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Salanitro?
Yeah, the proposal for a pilot program, I think, is not unreasonable. The only thing from a logistics point of view in the implementation or of the pilot program, we may want to consider not having registration done because there's an administrative effort, some minor costs with the type of the registration process and collecting fees and all that. If it's a 6-month trial, we should just do that. And then after 6 months, if we're going to go for full implementation, which I hope we do, I hope it's successful, then let's take the first 6 months and figure out how we want to administer this program. But if we have it done now and it fails, we'll have an outlay of cost, and then it's a refund situation, so it might get more ugly. So if it's for a true pilot, my recommendation would be go with the requirements, but I would remove the registration process and the collection of any fees during that 6-month period.
Well, you can still register the dogs without collecting fees. So if you're worried about
a fee collection,
right,
because we're going to have to.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. If we wanted to waive the collection of a fee, but I do think it's important that the dogs be registered. I think that's fundamental. And the other thing I would, we talked about this. If you could put a temporary fence up and take it down every day. I like the idea, Mr. Mayor, of a clearly identified area, even an electric fence. If you're charging, you might even but you could. I don't think. Yeah, that's my point. If you're putting anyway, I don't think that it's completely impractical. Especially if you're registering the dogs. You can train them the same way because you're going to be going there on a consistent basis. In any case, these are the kinds of things I'm hoping that the dog owners and the Dog Owner Association will be looking at over the course of the next 6 months. And I'm hopeful that they can, regulate this in a way that accommodates some of your concerns, Mr. Mayor, And I think that is a good idea, Commissioner Salanitro. The amount of money is going to come in is not that consequential. So from our standpoint, maybe the committee. Now, is there going to be a committee that runs this, and how is it? Are you going to? Is there going to be a group of people responsible?
I think for now, during this trial period, it's going to fall to the dog subcommittee to come up with some of the logistics here.
Do you have a dog subcommittee? Our dog subcommittee. Our dog subcommittee.
Our dog subcommittee. But in terms of the implementation, I think that the registration is actually going to end up falling to either or both the park staff and the City of Rye clerk's office, because that's where dogs currently are supposed to be registered. I think it makes it consistent to try and work out any registration through there.
Excellent. So you'll work with the dog committee and Rye City to come up with a formal registration program.
Right. Realistically, some of these registration pieces are going to take a little bit of time to actually get up and running, but we'll do that. And Bishop, to Bishop's credit, he actually has found online a dog owner's code of conduct for another dog park. So we have some groundwork that we've already begun on this issue.
Great. Well, again, I just really like to emphasize that it'd be really helpful to us to have demonstrable progress and a demonstrable success between now and next March, because we're taking a leap, quite frankly. And I want to be clear. I'm not certainly guaranteeing that I will be supportive in 6 months' time if we haven't shown demonstrable progress in terms of giving comfort to the people that oppose it, as much as the users.
Right. So I understand that there is vocal opposition to this policy change, but what I've said to you privately, and I'm happy to say it publicly, currently we have a problem. We have a lot of dogs off leash at many, many hours of the day, not just 6 to 9 a.m. And I'm hopeful that if we have a policy in place that we can make sure that dog owners and non-dog owners can use the park and use it consistently and cohesively without the kind of tension that we have right now. And that's my goal, and I think that the main metric for determining success will be whether or not we're able to keep the dog owners and keeping their dogs off leash only before 9 a.m. And I think that's going to be our major metric.
And off leash and obviously not in a designated area.
Within their designated area. And to be clear, the designated area, I mean, we can describe it. I think it's been to some extent described here.
We have it
West of the beach walk.
Right, west of the beach walk and out of the pond.
right.
So and
north of the pond.
north of the pond,
Yeah, it should say north.
west of the beach walk.
Actually, it's the whole park.
No, it shouldn't.
Except for the duck pond.
You're asking for the stone wall and forest to the beach walk,
Correct.
north of the pond.
Yes, north of the pond.
Wait, so
So it's a rectangle.
It's a rectangle. Right. So north of the pond, west of the beach walk.
It may not hurt if there is going to be some kind of signage to at least maybe identify on the graphic and the area on the park with it.
yeah, actually, we should definitely be able to have some signage.
Well, and I said that the City of Rye has a sign department, so we may be able to work with our...
It'd be just really nice to make it clear,
Right,
especially for those people who are not dog walkers and are concerned,
right.
so they don't. Please, Linda, come on up.
I was just going to say that, just remind you that we have that information center now, so that's also a
Oh, great.
focal point
That's great.
where you could post something, in
Sure.
the right-hand cabinet that's clear.
Yeah, we have bulletin boards as well, but I just want to bring the commission back to a prior time when the big
Thank you.
complaint was there are way too many signs in Rye Town Park.
Yeah, I think for the winter, that's okay.
All right.
I know you're right. Look, it's always a balancing act.
Yes, that's
But I
correct.
do think we have to have some indication of the designated area, and it needs to be clear
Oh, sure.
to the park users.
Okay.
I would just, if I could just
Please.
conclude by saying, just to manage expectations a bit, I don't think this will eliminate all tension, but I hope it will go a long way towards reducing tension, because right now there's a lot of it, and I think we can do better, and I think this will help us do better. And certainly, while the law, the City of Rye Code would trump any of this, I think Laura's effort has demonstrated that, we're willing to go the extra mile to work with everyone to make sure it's a success. So, we're prepared to go ahead and finally vote on this at our next meeting tomorrow night. But we have been and are and will remain, even after it's passed, very sensitive to making sure that this works and continuing the work of the dog committee and the outreach to all constituents. So, but thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Okay, with that, can I get a motion to vote to allow dogs off leash in a designated area as per?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, can I get a second?
Okay.
Second.
Commissioner Salanitro. Okay, Bishop, would you call the roll, please?
And that would be specifically for a trial period through the end of March.
Yep.
October 31st, March 31st.
Right.
And
Okay.
you should automatically have it as an agenda item at our April.
It will
commission
be
meeting.
on the
At the
agenda
March
item
one- at
in
the March
February.
item. Well, yeah, February, March, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Good, thank you, Mr.
Commissioner
Kilson.
Sach,
Yes.
Commissioner Pagano,
No.
Commissioner Salanitro,
Yes. Commissioner
Brett,
Yes.
and Commissioner Carvin.
Yes.
Okay. Passes 4-0.
I do.
So 4-1, rather. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I just want to show the commission a couple of pictures.
These guys got it
Yeah,
on
I'm
this
sorry.
side.
Yeah.
Yep,
all
no
right.
problem.
That's fine.
Thank you. Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Mayor.
But what I wanted to show you was this is the new trash area that we had.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll see the fencing. That
He's
is-
got a
Hold on, hold on,
sorry,
hold on.
he's got a CYO.
It's important, Nathan.
There's no business.
No, that was
I
it.
wish I could be here, Goldie.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Joe. Yep.
This is just to kind of show the commissioners what we've done here. That
Wait,
fenced
so that whole big thing's gone?
No, that fenced-in area there has been doubled in size because originally one of the big...
Is that pavement new?
Yes. One of the large...
Sorry, I apologize. Where was the big dumpster?
The big dumpster was on the outside. In fact, right here, this did not exist. This section here did not exist.
And where was the big dumpster?
So we had the large one was in here, we had the smaller one was in here exposed. It was outside.
All right.
The fenced-in area ended here originally. We doubled it in size. So now we have all of the containers will be indoors.
There's no containers in that picture.
There's no, because they're on the other side. You'll see them in the next photo. This is a view from the southern end. This is, hang on a second, where the hell's my button? Okay, right. This is the view from the Forest Avenue wall. And what we're going to be doing here is we're going to put a couple of bushes in here and in here. And this is an access for our vehicles to get into the area, to be able to dump trash, etc. And then this is the other side. So what happens here is that the Portchester truck comes in, it backs up, and that's why we needed to do the blacktop, because the land was, it fell off rather sharply. So we needed to patch up, and that's what we wound up doing, was we just added in sections where we needed the right angle for the vehicles. These gates open up, 2 containers will be in here, 2 containers will be in there. On the other side, 2 containers will be in each bay on the other side. Seaside Johnny's obviously owns 4 of them. We own 4 of them.
All of them will be inside the green fence.
Everything will be inside. Nothing will be exposed. The gates all have locks on them. And we think that we've gone a long way toward meeting the requirements that the commission had asked for.
Beautiful. I'm glad we finally, that's great.
Question, Mr. Chairman?
Please.
How many times is it going to be, will the pickups occur during season, for example?
The structure we have right now is we're hoping to have the same amount of pickups.
Really?
Yes, the only problem that we came up with late in the season, for example, because we did get the containers before the season ended, was that we do have a problem with the pickup on a Friday morning. I'm trying to work with your village manager to see if we can't structure a Saturday morning pickup.
Yeah, I'm concerned about the 4-day weekends especially.
Right, and that's kind of what we're concerned about as well. So
Yeah.
we're working with Chris on that. Our feeling here is the commission would be more than happy to pay the extra for the extra stops that we would need, which, frankly, would be about 13 of them, 12 or 13. So I don't see that as being problematic in terms of adding, 12 or 13 more pickups.
And
Other than that, we're fine. We're on the regular schedule that we always were on.
And Seaside Johnny, is he part of the mix, or is he handling his?
No, we in the lease agreement that we have with Seaside Johnny's, there is a trash disposal fee, and he pays us $3,000 a year.
Right.
Because his lease is capped at $3,000 for trash disposal. Well, I'm just saying that right now, that's the way it is. That's the way it was written, long before any of us got here.
When is he up again?
He is up in December of 2016.
2016.
So, anyway, this is a terrific thing. We'll have a full accounting at the next meeting for, the various pieces of
Excellent.
expenses.
Thank you, Bishop.
So can I'm sorry, it really does look terrific. I just want to express a little frustration that this wasn't presented to us before it was built. Yeah, this kind of a change to the park and the way that the garbage is restored, it's very hard to get it right. And I've seen lots of different garbage plans come before the city of Rye for lots of different businesses, and it's very hard to get that disposal right, to have a large enough area so that you're not having garbage overflow. And so it's something that I feel like as a commission, it would have been helpful to see it before it was built and provide some feedback for landscaping and things like that. So it looks terrific, it really does. I hope we get those bushes in there, but this is a really beautiful park. We're making a huge improvement in this garbage situation, and I hope we continue to do it, but it would have been nice to have seen a plan before it was sort of a fait accompli.
That's fair comment. So we should note that and do it in the future. Thank you, Commissioner Brett. Do we have any other business, Bishop?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. No, we have no new. Goldie?
Business, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I just want to tell you something. Rye Town is a very important historic town. And when I see two filmings on the beach request, I'm wondering, is this HBO? Is this commercials? Is this MGM or any of those? Because if it is, and they do a film of that whole area of Rye Town Beach, maybe we can get more people coming because the film will be shown all over the country and all over the world. And it will mention Rye Town Park and Rye Town. And they'll come. They'll come. It'll bring a lot more people. But if this is just plain residential, it's not going to help. The other thing I wanted to ask you is, when I come to the park and go up to the first pavilion, did they remove this sign that says no dogs allowed? Did they remove that sign?
No, that sign is still there on the pavilion.
No, it should come off, and it should be changed. It should be changed. If you're going to allow dogs leashed, it should say dogs have to be leashed in order to be in the park. Or there is a...
Does the sign say no dogs allowed?
I will check.
But that one has to come off.
I think that was one of the signs where we wanted dogs not to be in that area.
Well, we'll just have to...
Because people are partying there and those kinds of things.
But it says no dogs allowed, but they're always bringing their dogs.
I think Joe remembers this.
Yeah.
This came up at the community conversation.
Right.
That some people who had, babies and dogs on leash had a real struggle getting into the park and through the park, walking with their family and their dog. And there was discussion about whether or not that needed to be the case. And I think there was whether or not we needed to actually restrict dogs from that area.
And that was the area from the restaurant to...
No, I understand, but the bottom line is we're allowing dogs on leash in the park.
Yes,
correct. So
that's
they should
correct.
Therefore, they should. You should. I think Goldie's right. We should
At the
change
first
the sign.
pavilion, when
dogs
you
on
get up
leash.
from the parking lot to the first pavilion, there's a sign says no dogs allowed. But they're all there, and I brought that up last time.
I apologize,
was here,
Goldie.
and
I've
nothing
been
has
slow.
happened.
I'm trying to. I got the number of canned concerts up significantly. I'm reducing taxes, and now I'm going to get that sign changed for you. I apologize.
Please change the sign, but we also have a big problem. We have a huge Latino population, and they don't understand English. So some of it should be in Spanish.
Okay. Thank you very much.
if you can.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thanks so much, Goldie. Without any other...
I
please,
do have
yep.
one more
Yep.
comment. I got some feedback from Rye residents that we've removed a lot of the garbage cans in the park. Is that true? Is that permanent?
No, we've removed the garbage cans from the beach,
Okay.
but we have not really removed from the park. We have, I'm going to estimate, 2 to 3 cans at each beach entrance
Okay.
or exit. We actually double them up because we know that people are on the
Right.
beach and they carry their trash off and so forth.
Okay.
We have multiple cans at each park entrance.
Okay.
All right. We take them off the beach because, frankly, in the wintertime, there's no effective way to get onto the beach to clean them. So our people that take care of the park over the winter season are able now to take their vehicle and literally go from all around the perimeter of the park and empty all these cans on a regular basis.
Okay. So the only garbage cans that were moved or removed were the ones on the beach?
Primarily the ones on the
park are
beach.
still there.
There may have been 1 or 2 that were in the middle of the park someplace that were removed, but they were, there's other cans there. If you had your favorite bench somewhere in the park and there was a can there, that can may not be there anymore.
Okay.
In the middle of the park. Again, all we're trying to do is make it effective for our people to be able to manage it and take care of it on a regular basis.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments from the commission? None? With that, can I get a motion to bring the meeting to a close? Who are those who are still here to the end?
Can we even do it without on the...
Technically, you can, yes.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Will.